Hello, good evening, Leandro. How are you today?
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you.
Great. That's great to know, Leandro. So let's start, please, with the class. We have to finish the first lesson, and today we have to cover two more lessons, okay? But this one's... Okay, give me 1 second. My recording is here. Okay, good. So, first, let's finish. Again, everything has been assigned, Leandro. So before going there, I'm going to share the link to write some examples with these two last tenses that we have before going to the next two lessons. All right, so if you
Okay.
remember, we reviewed everything, right? The simple present, the simple past, present perfect, or sorry, not present perfect yet, present continuous, past continuous, simple future, right? So all the tenses except for the present perfect and the present perfect continuous, right? We covered this one just a few classes ago, but it's important to remember and mainly to practice this, okay? This is very important. It is not hard, but you have to memorize verbs in the past participle, right? Seen, spoken, taken, given, right? The last conjugation in past. And it's important that you know that one. And that's what we're going to practice here. So let's start by reading, please, this slide, Leah.
Okay. Present perfect. Use this tense for unfinished or finished action that are indefinite and could have a connection with the present. Affirmative, you have seen that card twice. Negative, he has not studied for the test. And questions, have they spoken English?
Great. Okay, so this is the main tense that we're going to practice now. All right, this one, the next one, is something that we already practiced. Okay, you know, right? We have been reading, we have been studying, and well, just ing. But here we need to use the verbs in the past participle. Okay, so let's try to do something just to see if you know some of those verbs. If not, again, I'm going to help you out here, and afterwards, working with the examples, you have access to the internet so you can look for those verbs, all right? But I'm going to say the example in simple past, and you're going to tell me the example in the past or the present perfect. Okay, this one. For example, this example here in the past, sorry, let me see. This one in simple past would be you saw that car, right? You saw that car. Tu vistes el auto. But in the present perfect is you have seen that car. Tu has visto ese auto. Right here, the same. He didn't study for the test, but in present perfect, he has not studied. And finally, did they speak English? That's simple past. And in present perfect, have they spoken English? All right, so what about this one? I'm going to start with something like this. How do you say this? I went, okay, I went to, I don't know, Germany. Just that one. I went to Germany. How do you say that in the present perfect?
Okay. I gone. I have gone to the Germany.
Good. To Germany, exactly.
To Germany.
Correct. Very well. So I went to, or you went to Germany goes to you have gone to Germany, right? What about this one? Let's say, okay, I got, okay, got like G-O-T, right? I got a new email. I got a new email.
I have gotten a new email.
Yes, that's perfect. Very good. What about this one? I didn't, or she didn't, okay? She didn't pay attention to the meeting. She didn't pay attention to the meeting.
She has not paid. I don't know.
Paid? Paid. It's okay. It's P-A-I-D, right? P-A-I-D.
Okay. She has not paid. What is the next? Sorry, I forgot.
Attention to the meeting.
He has not paid attention to the meeting.
Good. One more negative. How do you say we didn't? Okay, we didn't. Okay, we didn't give you a letter. We didn't give you a letter.
We have not. What is the verb? Sorry.
Give. The verb is give.
Okay. We have not given. What is the next?
It was you a letter. You a letter.
Yeah. We have not. Sorry, I was a little.
Don't worry. The verb is give, right? So one more time, I'm going to say one more time. The complete is we didn't give you a letter.
Okay. We have not given you a letter.
Perfect. Very good. Okay, so just two more in questions this time. Did you like the movie? Did you like the movie?
Have you liked?
In this case, if it's a regular verb, it's always ed. So it's liked, right? So it's always going to be liked with ed. Like this one, right?
Okay.
Studied. If it's regular, it's always going to be with ed. It's not going to change. All right.
Okay.
So one more time, please. The question was, did you like the movie?
Have you liked the movie?
Exactly. Good. So what's the difference? Did you like the movie is like te gustó la película? And have you liked the movie is like te ha gustado la película? Right? So it's the same, right? But remember that you use simple past for definite actions, right? You know when it happened in a calendar. But you use the present perfect when you don't know when it happened or when you don't want to say when it happened. Right? Because the meaning is kind of the same, but one is specific, the other one is unspecific, right? Just one more, please. Is where did you travel? Yes, where did you travel? Just that
one. Where have you traveled?
Traveled, exactly. It's easy, right? When it's ed, only ed. But you have to be careful with the irregular verbs because they change. Right? They are going to change and they are not going to be the same. So let's do the following, please, Leandro. Let's go to the document and you're going to write, because again, I want you to practice this. Let's write 6 examples in total, okay? 2 affirmative, 2 negative, and 2 questions, right? 6. So 2 affirmative, 2 negative, 2 questions. And please, you're going to use 6 different verbs. Okay, 6 different verbs to try to see new verbs. And let's not use the verbs that you have here. Let's not use the verb seen. Let's not use study. And let's not use spoken. All right, those are the rules. Let's do it, please. Andrew, those 6. We're going to have 5 minutes for that one. If you finish before the 5 minutes, you let me know when we check.
Okay.
All right, good. So let me start with the clock. All right, so 5 minutes. Also, just in case, Leandro, in the chat, I'm going to write some expressions that you can use. Remember that you're not going to use specific expressions like yesterday. Okay, yesterday is incorrect, last is incorrect, ago is incorrect in the present perfect. Instead, you can use before, okay, just before at the end. You can use number of times, right? You can say twice, you can say once, all right? You can say 3 times, okay, 3 times. Those are some expressions that you can use. And also remember that you can use periods of time. For example, for 5 days, right? Or you can say since, I don't know, Monday, okay, if it's past. All right, so
Okay.
take that into account, please, and try to use some of those expressions with your examples.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I can use after.
Yes, if it's referred to past, if your idea is in past and it's well connected, it is going to be correct. Use it. I'm going to say if it's okay, but you shouldn't have any problems. It's okay to use after, unless it's to give a time reference. If after is going to tell you when something happened, then it is not going to be incorrect. It's not going to be correct. Like, for example, if you say, after I studied, or after I finished something, that is definite. So that is going to be incorrect.
Okay. It's correct if I wrote, you have not cried after the movie?
All right, so in this case, it is not going to be correct. Why? Because for that one, you're going to use only, let me stop the timer, give me a second. For that one, and actually it's good that you mentioned, you're going to use the simple past, okay, not the present perfect. Why? Because we know when it happened, right? When did it happen? After that action happened, right? So it's better to avoid that one.
Okay. Okay, I finished.
Good. So we're going to take a look at that one. A second. All right, so I'm going there. Let's stop the timer. Let's delete this and let's go. All right, so I'm here with you. Let's read, please, those examples.
Okay, I have accepted this deal. She has asked about her career. You have not cried for 5 hours. They have not found your wallet. Ah, they wallet. Sorry, they. Has he gone to his practice? Have we lost our way?
Great, perfect. Thank you very much, Leandro. I think they are great. Okay, I think they are perfect. They're just there, right? And remember to make it a possessive, it is going to be like this, right? With I and R, right? There.
There.
So it's THEIR. And also,
Mhm.
actually, if you say your wallet, it's not incorrect because what's the difference? They have not found your wallet. It's like saying, ellos no han encontrado tu billetera, right? And it's also
Okay.
correct, right? It's correct because you
Mhm.
can talk about one person that is not them, right? But if you only want to talk about them, it's better to say they are, right?
There.
Because anything is
Mhm.
possible, right? Good.
Okay.
So again, here, remember, you can use the expressions that I told you. For example, here you can say, I have accepted this deal. You can say for, okay? It's not a specific, you
Okay.
don't know when it happened. It's just a reference, okay? This is just optional. Here, she has asked about her career. You can say twice, right? You know that it happened times, right? Twice, but you don't know when. Here you have four, that's perfect. For 5 hours, we know the period of time, but we don't know exactly when it happened or finished. And here they have not found their wallet. That's good like that. It doesn't need anything else. Has he gone to his practice? And here you can use since, okay? Since
Mhm.
Tuesday, all right? And again, this is not going to tell us when exactly it happened, but the starting period of time, okay? If you have
Okay.
since, is correct. If you have for, is correct. If you have number of times, is correct. If you have before, that is indefinite, is correct. All right, just that one. Everything else is working very well, Leandro. This is what I wanted to practice. I want to know if you have questions about the present perfect. Let me know, please.
No, no, I don't have questions.
All right. And this again, we're only going to practice like that. We're just going to read the examples and we're going to give one example by speaking and that's it. Okay, so let's
Mhm.
read those three examples, please.
Okay. Affirmative. You have been reading that book for weeks. Negative. He has not been paying attention to the class. Questions. Have they been attending the class?
Great. Okay, so let's go to the examples. What is one action that you have been doing recently?
Mm, I have been, um, how do you say regresar?
Return.
Uh, Returning to my house.
Okay, yes, that action, it's like lately, right? Remember when you said recently, it's an activity that you were doing. But yes, you can say that one, returning to my home. If it's something, an action that you were doing in some minutes or hours, yes, it is correct. So I believe it works. What about negative? Something that you have not been doing recently.
Oh, okay. I have not been, um, I don't know, been, uh, um, playing the guitar.
Okay, yes. Remember when you say
Mhm.
recently, it can be these days, right? The last days that happened. So
Mhm.
it's correct. Now, I'm going to ask you a question and then you ask me a question. All right.
Okay.
It's not a lot of possibilities because it's a continuous action, but I can say, mm, what could it be? All right. Where have you been, let's say, practicing English? Where have you been practicing English?
Okay. I have been practicing in the university.
Okay, yes, correct. In, or remember, if it's general, you can only say at the university.
At the
Right?
university.
Good, that's good. Now you ask me one question in this tense, please.
Okay. Have you been, I don't know, taking a dinner? It's correct.
Yes, to take dinner. Yes, if
Oh,
I'm eating that one. But better than take is like to use have,
have
having dinner. Uh-huh.
having dinner.
Yes, yes, I have, right? I can say just
Okay.
that. Yes, I have. I have been having dinner, right? You can use two times have. The first is
Mhm.
auxiliary, and the second is the verb eat in the second form, right? Have. Good. So that's
Okay.
correct. Yes, I have been having dinner these days. Good. Okay. So again, we practice this, so there is not an extra thing that we're going to do about it. Remember that you have the chart, and with that, we're finishing this lesson. We have two more to cover, but they are going to be very short. Also speaking, perhaps, I want to know if you have any questions before going to those two lessons, Leandro.
No, I don't have questions.
All right, let's go then to those two lessons. This is very simple. And if you, that's why actually we practiced the tenses, because to work with tag questions, you need to know the tenses. All right. So let's read, please, the definition or this introduction for tag questions.
Okay. Use tag questions to verify something that you believe is true. For example, if you know a person and you remember the name, but you are not sure, ask the following. You are John, aren't you?
Great. Okay, so this is the tag question. Is a short question that you ask at the end of an idea, right? So at the beginning, I can say, hey, you are Leandro, aren't you? Right? You're going to say, yes, I am, right?
Okay.
But the thing here, it's very simple with the verb to be, but as I told you, you have to be careful when you use auxiliaries. Okay, you need to know the auxiliaries. Remember, auxiliaries for simple present are do, does. Okay, don't, doesn't. Auxiliaries for the simple past, well, just one is did, right? Didn't. And the rest of the auxiliaries, you're going to see them. For example, what are the auxiliaries for the present perfect? Have or has, right? She has eaten, I have eaten, right? Those are auxiliaries. What is the auxiliary for the simple future? Will, right? I will go. The auxiliary for the future with be going to is be, right? I am going to go. Am is the auxiliary. Okay, so you need to know that because in tag questions, you have to use the auxiliary in the opposite form. All right, now let's
Okay.
actually see the rule. That's going to be clearer. Let's read also this, please.
Okay. Asking this. You are John, aren't you? Equals you are John, right? You are John, correct?
Good. Okay, so that's the meaning. When you say aren't you, isn't he, it's going to mean right, correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before going there, and before going there, actually, we're going to work on steps, and then we're going to check that, let's say, chart. Okay, so remember, if this is the sentence, okay, Luis likes pasta. So what is this
Mm-hmm.
tense, Eleandro? If I ask you, what is this? Is this simple present, present continuous,
Uh,
present perfect?
simple present.
Correct, right? So what are the auxiliaries for the simple present?
The verb to be.
Can be the verb to be, but if you don't have the verb to be, here you don't have the verb to be.
The verb. Do.
Do and does.
Do
Exactly,
and
do,
does.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Do, because does is just the form of do with the third person, right? So
Mm-hmm.
do and does. Now, you have to know that, okay? You have to be sure. You cannot use the verb to be if you don't have the verb to be, okay? Luis likes pasta. There's no verb to be, so you never use the verb to be in tag questions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You have to use the auxiliary. So for Luis, what is the auxiliary? Is it do or does for Luis?
Does.
Does, right? So let's do the following. I'm going to write here the tag question. Okay, the tag question always starts with a comma. Okay, we delete this period with a comma. Now the auxiliary is does. Now is this affirmative or negative? Like the sentence.
Affirmative.
Affirmative, right? So here we need negative in contraction. Okay, so if the sentence is affirmative, the question is negative. If the sentence is negative, that question is affirmative. Okay, so doesn't. And now, what is here? You need the pronoun. What is the pronoun of Luis?
He.
He, exactly, right? And then a question mark, and that's it. Okay, this is the tag question for this sentence. Okay, that's why you need to know very well the auxiliaries, because you have to use that auxiliary and you have to use the correct form. Okay, so that's correct. Luis likes pasta, doesn't he? Now, here, this is, well, actually, what type of past is this, Leandro? Is this simple past? Is this past continuous? Past perfect?
Simple past.
Good. What is the auxiliary in this sentence?
Did. Didn't.
Right? Correct. It's did and it's in negative, right? So what do you think is going to be the tag question here? You tell me, Leandro. According to what I did above, what is the tag question here? Remember, affirmative, negative, negative, affirmative. You have to use the auxiliary and you have to use the pronoun. So what is the tag question here?
Did she?
Perfect. That's great. And that's it. Mary didn't like that pasta, did she? All right. And that, again, what is the meaning of that? Is like correct, right? You only want to verify information. All right. You want to verify information by doing that. So, okay, that's everything you have to do. You have the ideas. You have then, after you have the ideas, you have to recognize the tense, right? As you said, this is simple present. So you have to use do or does. This is simple past. You have to use did, right? After you do that, you write the auxiliary in the opposite form. If the sentence is affirmative, the auxiliary is negative. If the sentence is negative, the auxiliary is affirmative, right? That's step 3. Step 4 is the pronoun. You don't say names here, okay? You don't say doesn't Peter. That's incorrect. You have to use the pronoun, okay? Luis, he, Mary, she, and if you have people, you have they, right? Always the pronoun. Always use the pronoun there, and it's always contracted. All right? Doesn't, didn't, isn't, aren't. All right? Always contraction. Remember the contraction. What is the contraction with will and not? Will not.
Won't.
Won't, right? Correct. So, and this is something. Let's read this, please, Leandro.
Okay, important. If you see the verb to be in a sentence, you don't need another auxiliary. Is, are, was, were. First, you were in La Paz, weren't you? No, did. And 2, you are my friend, aren't you? No, do or does. Simple tenses, present and past, need an auxiliary, need an auxiliary that is not written. And first, she likes dancing, doesn't she? Does is the auxiliary for simple present with third person. And second, you liked the food. You liked the food, didn't you? Did is the auxiliary verb for simple past.
Great. Okay, so this is a great recommendation. If you see the verb to be, this is the verb to be in past, right? So you have to use the verb to be. Don't use other auxiliaries, only the verb to be. If you see the verb to be in present, use the verb to be. Okay, so that's the simple rule. Now, if you don't see the verb to be, don't add the verb to be. Okay, it's always going to be something else. Here, you don't have the auxiliary, but you know that this is simple present and you need to use does. Here, you know that this is simple past. It is past. If you don't see if you don't see the auxiliary, you know that it is did. In all the other cases, it's easier, Leandro, because you see the auxiliary. For example, in simple future, the auxiliary is will, right? I will go. You see will. So you're going to use will in negative in the tag question, right? So what is the tag question for this one, Leandro? One more time. You will go. You will go. What is the tag question for that
one? You will go. Won't you?
Correct. Easy, right? You see will, that's the auxiliary you have to use. What about this one? You are playing, or she is playing soccer. She is playing soccer.
She is playing soccer.
Remember,
isn't she?
correct, perfect. If you see the verb to be, use the verb to be directly, right? She's playing soccer, isn't she? Very well. One more, okay? You have written that example. You have written that example. That is present perfect.
You have written, haven't you?
Perfect. Very well. Because it's present perfect and have is the auxiliary, right? So there you go. It's very simple, but let's practice only writing 4 examples, please, Leandro. Okay, this is going to be the rule. Give me one example in present, one example in past, one in future, and one in the present perfect. Okay, that's it. All right, so present, past, future, and present perfect. Let's do it, please. In 4 minutes, we check and let me know if you have any questions.
Okay. And I don't have questions.
All right.
Okay, I finished.
Good. Let's take a look at that. Again, to finish actually this lesson, we have one more detail to see, but that questions is just that. Let's read please your examples.
Okay, you need this pencil, don't you? This she spoke in the morning, didn't she? You will make the dinner, won't you? He has studied for her exam, hasn't he?
Okay, perfect, good. Okay, only one detail. The first pronunciation was good. Studied. Studied.
Studied. Okay.
Great. And this one, remember, if it's too general, actually, if you're talking about dinner in a general way, just say dinner. That's the best way, okay? Without saying the dinner, because if you always mention that and you're talking about just dinner, it's better to say it without the article the. Okay, as you will make dinner, won't you? And we understand that you're talking about the dinner that you're going to have. All right, so it's not necessary. Only you're going to say the dinner if you're going to give more specifications after that. For example, you will make the dinner for, I don't know, for tomorrow's birthday, right? Okay, so that's the dinner for tomorrow's party. Okay, more specific. But in this case, just dinner is okay. But all the tag questions are correct, Alejandro. I think you don't have any problems with this. I want to know if you have any questions. I just want, we're going to see a detail before finishing, but do you have any questions about it so far?
No, I don't have questions.
All right, so let's just see this chart. This chart is just to see all the possible ways to write tag questions. As you can see, simple present with be, with other verbs, present continuous, past continuous even, all right? So let's read please all these examples, only the examples.
Sorry?
Let's read all these examples, please, Leandra.
Okay. She is Italian, isn't she? Isn't she? They live in London, don't they? We are working tomorrow, aren't we? It was cold yesterday, wasn't it? He went to the party last night, didn't he? We were waiting at the station, weren't we? She will come at 6, won't she? He can help, can he?
Great, thank you. So again, if you notice, it's very simple. If you have the verb to be, you use the verb to be. If it's affirmative, negative, right? Here, you don't have the verb to be, so you have to use the auxiliary. Here's the hint. You have the verb to be, you use it. You have the verb to be, you use it, right? You don't have the verb to be. This is past, simple past, so you use the auxiliary did in the opposite form, affirmative, negative. You have the verb to be in the past continuous, so you use the verb to be. And here you have will, the auxiliary, and you use that in negative. And down below the same, right? So it is just like that. You just need to analyze. If you see that the verb to be, use the verb to be. You don't see it, you just use the auxiliary that you have to use. Now, this is the same, but it's the opposite in the sense that you have negative sentences. So the tag question is affirmative, right? So here the tag question is negative because all of them are affirmative sentences. But here, all of them are negative sentences, so you use affirmative tag questions, okay? Just that one. Look, and the last thing are these exceptions, okay? You don't have to know this. This is just for you to know in the future in case you find something like this. If you have imperatives, the imperative for, the tag question for imperatives, right? Wake up, stand up, sit down, right? The tag question for imperatives are these tag questions, will. The tag questions for recommendations are or is shall, okay? And this is an interesting case. The tag question for I am, because you cannot contract I am, is going to be aren't I. Okay, that's going to be the only exception like that, because you cannot say I'm not I, so you have to borrow right? Tienes que prestarte. You have to borrow a verb to use aren't. Okay, so let's read these three exceptions, please, Leandro.
Okay. And do your homework, will you? Let's play poker, shall we? And I am your friend, aren't I?
Okay.
What is the meaning of shall?
Shall, it can have many meanings in the sense that it's a word that you don't use it like anymore. But when you say, for example, we shall go, it's close to like debería, all right? But it's not always like that. You don't use it actually like that. If you use in negative, I don't know if you watched The Lord of the Rings in English, right? If you watch The Lord of the Rings in English, there's a part in which they say, you shall not pass. But it's not translated like tú no deberías pasar. It's translated as tú no pasarás, like future. Okay, so if you say you shall not go, it means no irás. All right, so it depends. The meaning can be different, but again, you don't use it anymore, okay, in standard English. Mainly you use it in questions, like shall we eat something? And that's translated like present. Comemos algo? Okay, so it's not even like debería, it's just like a recommendation for we and for I. Okay, or shall I go today? Debo ir hoy? All right, so it's that idea that can be future or related to recommendations for we or for I. Okay, but again, it's not as common as it was before. You don't use it as often, only for recommendations and for questions mainly. All right.
All right.
For example, here, instead of let's play poker, you can ask, shall we play poker? Okay, it's the same. All right, it's always going to be for recommendations. Okay, good. So take that into account, please. Again, it's not as important, but you should know it. Okay, it's something that you should have over there, but it's not the main purpose of the lesson. Now, there is one more that we're going to cover now. That again, it's going to be something that you already covered with me, right? So it's going to be a review. What do you remember once again about infinitives, Leandro?
With the word to first, the verb.
Correct, right? Infinitive is a form of a verb that involves the usage of the particle to plus the verb in the base verb, right? Any verb that you want. You know that you have three forms of verbs, right? Base form, eat, infinitive, to eat, gerund, eating, right? Those are the three forms of writing a verb. And we know the infinitive, we know the gerund, all right? So once again, here, this is going to be a reinforcement. Let me check that this is really the reinforcement we need. Yes, it is. So I don't know if you remember, it was over there, but do you remember when you use the infinitive? Leandro, what do you say? When do you use the infinitive? In what situations?
When we have words, specific words first or before the verb.
Good, yes, and those specific words are mainly going to be verbs, right? Specific verbs.
Specific verbs.
So yes, after a specific list of verbs, you have to use infinitive, right? For example, the verbs want, the verbs or the verb need or decide, right? I want to go, infinitive. I need to eat, infinitive. I decided to travel, infinitive, right? Good, that's one, after verbs. What else? There are other ways to use infinitives. What do you say? What is another way to use infinitives besides after some verbs?
I don't know if we need to say it alone, only the verb.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, like what? Give me an example, please. We're going to see if it's okay.
To read, to just the verb? Or I don't know.
It's okay like that, but remember, you can use it as the subject, right? So you need the infinitive plus one verb plus one complement, right? That's going to be the subject. So what can you tell me about to read? To read what? How can you complete that idea?
To read a book.
Good. That's the subject. To read a book. Now, what is the verb? To read a book, what? What is the action?
And to read a book, for.
For is going
It's
to be a
correct.
preposition. It's going to be a preposition. Here you need
For
more of a verb. You need a verb.
for make a practice.
But that's not going to be complete. That's a phrase. It is correct. It is a phrase, but you're saying a phrase. It's incomplete because it's leer un libro para practicar, right? But that's a phrase. It's good.
Also
It's
make
good.
a practice.
Okay, para hacer una práctica, but you're saying, right?
Yes.
It's also a phrase. Why? Because you're saying for. And remember, if you say for, you have to use gerund, right? For making a practice. But that's also just one phrase. Okay, how do you know that it's a phrase? Because it doesn't have a verb. When you use, remember, when you use a preposition and you use a verb with ing, it is not a verb anymore, right? It is a noun. So you have nouns, 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 and nouns. Okay, remember, you to make it a complete sentence, you have to use a verb. Okay, so here you're saying this: to read a book, okay, for making practice. Okay, you're saying that. Now again, it is correct. It is a phrase, once again, because we don't have a verb. All of this is only the subject. All of this is only like saying this, Peter. Okay, that's what you're telling me. You're telling me Peter. Now you need an action. Okay, leer un libro para hacer práctica, ¿qué es? ¿O qué se siente? ¿O cómo se ve? You need now a verb. What verb can you use? It's like this, right? So far, you're telling me just Peter.
Okay,
now you have to tell me
I think the verb is make or making.
Okay, now how can you change then that? Because here it is not as a verb, here it is working as an activity.
Okay.
So you have to, you can change this then to make it a verb. So to read a book, makes, now is a verb.
Oh, okay.
All right, now it is a verb. For making, it's an activity. Makes is a verb. So to read a book makes what? Now, hace que.
Makes me happy.
Okay, good. All right, there you go. Now, what I was telling you. Now you have this, that now it is a verb. Okay, so, and now you have this, that it is what? The complement. All right, now to having a verb, it's always conjugated, remember, in all the tenses that you know. So you can say is making, was making, you can say makes, made, will make, right? All of them are conjugations with the verb. But if you say for making, it is not a verb anymore. It's going to be like an activity. All right, and even for purpose. So good, that's also one. You have to, after some verbs, and as the, let's say, subject of your sentence. Okay, and this is a great sentence. We have more. I'm going to tell you one of them. Remember, when you want someone, right, so that person does something for you. I don't know if you remember an idea using infinitive with another person, and you make that person, all right, do something. I don't know if you remember to make another person do something using infinitive.
Okay.
You can say, yes, go ahead.
I don't know, to gift. Gift is a verb?
You can say gift as a verb, gift,
Mhm.
but in this one, you need the correct order. You need to remember subject. You need one subject first, that is going to be I, we, they, whatever.
Mhm.
Then you need a specific verb like need. Okay, I'm going to
Mhm.
make you remember. Is, for example, I need you to write five
Yes.
sentences, right? So what do you say? Give me your sentence then, please.
Okay. Uh, I yes. I need you. Yes.
Yes, I
Uh,
need you. That's correct.
I need you to to make a gift for my girlfriend.
Yes, very well. I need you to make a gift for
Mhm.
my girlfriend. Very well. Remember that you can use verbs as need, expect, right? In the
Mhm.
same in the same way. For example, one more. You can say in future also. I'm going to give you one. She will make no. She let's make it in past. She expected, all right, her boyfriend. She expected her boyfriend to, I don't know, be on time. Okay, she expected her boyfriend to be on time. So to be there is the auxiliary. Okay, so let's do the
Mhm.
same. Please use expect. What idea can you give me?
Mm, I expect. Um, I expect you. Yes,
Yes.
that's correct. I expect you um, to help me.
Uh-huh.
That's correct. I expect you to help me.
Yes, that's correct. You can add more specifications, but that sentence is complete and it's correct. I expect you to help me. That's like simple present. Even you can say that in present continuous. I'm expecting you to help me now, right? Or in
Okay.
past, I was expecting you to help me and you didn't do it. Or in simple past, I expected you to help me, right? So yes, it is correct. And you can give more clarification like to help me with my homework, to help me with my, I don't know, my assignments, with my, I don't know, study and so on and so forth, right? So that's number three. So remember, so far you have this, you can use it as a subject. Remember, when you have to use it as a subject, don't forget about the verb. Okay, to
Mhm.
study is an important activity. Is the verb, right? To travel, as you said, makes me feel very good or makes me happy, makes me feel very good, right? To learn a new language is very important, right? So you always use the verb and it has to be conjugated. After specific verbs, we didn't practice this much, so let's practice this, please, with a couple of examples. Remember that you can use, and actually, let's go there. This one we have it to make it the subject. Okay, here these are the verbs that you use with infinitives, right? After these verbs, you have to use infinitive. So let's keep please one with hope. What example can you give me with hope plus infinitive in any tense that you want?
Um, I hope is deseo or espero. I don't know if what is.
Yes, hope is the sense of esperar, but in the sense of tener esperanza, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you use it as a verb, right? Yo espero with my hope, with esperanza,
Mm-hmm.
and then you give me the infinitive.
Okay. I hope to to pass my exam.
Yes, good, right? It's not to wait, right? To wait is just to wait until a certain time, right? That's wait, esperar por el tiempo. But to hope is when you have a desire, when you really want something, right? Because actually you have hope that that's going to be true, right? So that's perfect. I hope to pass my test. I hope to travel to the United States very soon. And again, ideas that you can have, all right? Good.
Mm-hmm.
One more. Let's make it with um, Again, we practice with almost all of them. This one, refuse. Remember, refuse is like negarse a algo.
Okay.
So what example can you say with refuse plus infinitive?
I refuse to do your homework.
Yes, that is correct. When you don't want something, you say, I refuse to do that, right? She refuses to go to the party, right? In other words, she doesn't want to go to the party, right? It's exactly the same, but it summarizes that idea. So, okay, that's clear again. It's just you that you need to practice. But if you remember this, it is perfect. We practice this, right? Persuade. Let's only give one more with persuade, please. What example can you give me using persuade?
Okay. I persuade. I persuaded. Um, I persuaded you um, to talk with her.
Okay, good. What is the verb one more time? Give me one more time that verb, please.
To talk.
Okay, perfect. To talk with her. That's good. This is number 3. To talk about someone else, so that person does an action for you. And this one is something that you have to remember, right? Purpose. Because we practiced 2 times, so this is the 3rd time. When you want to say why something happened or why you are doing something, you use infinitive, right? Remember, I have to study why to pass the course. That's my purpose, right? She does exercise. Why? To feel better. They came here. Why? To buy a house. And finally, we have to live. Why? To be happy, right? So again, this is something we practice, but let's just give 2 examples, please. What is an action that you are doing with a specific purpose, Leandro? What do you say? Give me the action like this, one affirmative or negative action, plus the reason using infinitive.
Use in order.
Yes, you can use in order also to make it more formal. It is better.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to study in order to pass the course. It is better.
Okay. Um, um, we do the homework in order um, to pass the segment.
The assignment, good. Or yes, it is correct. One question there. How do you change that into negative? How do you say hacemos o hago la tarea para no reprobar el curso? How do you say that?
Um, I I do the homework in order to not how do you say reprobar?
Fail.
Failed the course.
Fail the course. Good. Only one mistake. Remember, instead of to not, is going to be in order not to.
Not to.
Not to. So it's going to be I do the homework in order not to fail the course. Okay, so let's say that one more time, please.
Okay, I do the homework in order not to.
Correct?
In order not to fail the course.
Fail the course. Correct. Okay, so that's the idea. Again, you know, right? Because you remember that we already learned this. But again, right, it's important to remember because as we can see, sometimes we can forget the details. So it's important to reinforce. Okay, one time, well, once, twice, 3 times, the times that are necessary to remember. All right. But with this, we are finishing what we had to cover. In this, Leandro, just for you to know, you have a list of verbs, a lot of verbs that you can use with gerunds and infinitives. Look, all of these verbs here are going to be followed by gerund. Okay, all of
Mhm.
this over here. Okay, so you can see this list and you can decide which ones you use a lot and memorize those. Okay, until that part. And here,
Okay.
all of these verbs are followed by infinitive. Okay, agree, appear, beg, care, and many more. And again, all of these verbs are followed by infinitive. You don't have to memorize all that list. It's just for you to, again, see what verbs you use more. But that's it. We're finishing here. I don't know if you have any questions before finishing today, Leandro. Let me know, please.
No, I don't have questions.
All right. As always, please, I'm sending the survey. You can see it over there. As you are completing that one, again, thanks for being here. I hope you have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow to finish the class, or sorry, to finish the week and to start one new unit. All right?
Okay.
Good. So bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye. See you tomorrow.